Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Comiholics. This is what?
31.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think we actually missed one.
We are the middle age.
I think we missed one. I think if you go back, we did like 26, 28, 29. I think we may have actually skipped one.
You think we fooled them?
I don't think they care.
Nobody's watching,
I don't think
so
they care.
It doesn't matter.
The three people that sometimes watch this show. Before we get started, though, we do have Comixology codes for comics that we're going to give away. And now, these are all books that are already out. These are already codes that are, paid for, whatever. And how it's going to work is basically I'm going to ask a question, and you guys have to email me, dirt@popculturenetwork.com, with the answer, and randomly one of these codes will be sent back to you. So you don't know which book you're going to get with one of these codes. We've got a couple copies of Uncanny X-Men 2. We've got some copies of Uncanny Avengers number 4. We've got a couple copies of Uncanny X-Force 2.
Both those are good.
We've got a bunch of copies of Deadpool number 5. And then we've got one copy of Batman Incorporated 8, which is the death of Damian Wayne. So, the way it's going to work, I'm going to ask you this question, and it's kind of a trick question. You're going to have to think about it a little bit. And I want you to, again, send the answer to dirt@popculturenetwork.com. Randomly, one of these will be sent back to you. If you already bought this on Comixology, so you don't need the code, there's really not, we can't swap them out or anything like that, so you can just give it to another friend and let them try out Comixology, and maybe you can convert them over to digital or whatever. But the question is, kind of a trick question here, so think about it. In what comic book, what issue, the title and number, did we meet Jason Todd for the first time for the second time?
Wow.
Now, some of you who have already started drinking, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I know exactly. But yeah, you got to think about that a minute. In what comic, we need the title and the issue number, did we meet Jason Todd for the first time for the second time? All right. So there you go. So
it's like one of those car talk questions, you know? I need like an engineer and a physicist.
But what we'll do on the next episode, we'll give you the answer, and then we'll run down the winners. And if any of you who won, if you want to give a little shout out to your friends or something, you can write a sentence and whatever. You guys can have a little.
All right.
Shout out.
Yeah.
All right.
Nonsense. Freebies. Who cares about freebies?
Well, people who get free stuff do.
Yeah.
So right now I'm drinking the Bud Light Lime Limerita, margarita with a twist, in the tall can here.
Makers.
You're drinking, is that the...
That's the 46.
That's the 46? That's like the $40 bottle?
30.
DJ House was commenting on the brandy. That was not such a fine girl.
That was back on 21.
Oh, that was
21.
fun.
I had to come back 10 later.
I love that brandy.
She was not a fine girl.
She was a fine girl to me.
Bitch.
She treated me all right.
Yeah.
I was okay.
I hated her the next day.
So anyway, so we're going to talk about some advanced comics. This is all stuff that's not in stores yet. So we have to be a little careful with spoilers and whatnot as we talk about this stuff. But first up, we're going to talk about Avengers number 7.
Okay.
Now, you've been reading Avengers all along, haven't you?
It's more like it's been reading me. I'm really having trouble with Avengers. There's a lot going on, and I just...
Hey, you're blocking my light.
Oh, sorry.
And I just...
sorry.
Whoa! I'm actually... I've got some questions for you, Dirt.
Okay, no, wait. First, 7 starts a new arc. So 1 through 6 had kind of been that ongoing story with the guy who had been bringing new life on Earth, and the AIM agents were trying to harness
He was basically a god.
bio-entities and whatever, trying to figure out exactly what they do. And we have another thing that just started.
That's going to be me. Sorry about the light.
That's like the third thing that we've had to shut off for making noise around here tonight.
We have sound issues. We want to make sure that we're...
Sorry about the light.
All right.
We're high def here. Everything's hi-fi.
All right, so this starts a new arc.
Right.
This is one of the characters that we've run into before. Who I forget what the name was that Tony Stark thought his name was. But he kept calling him the wrong name, trying to translate his language. And then you find out in this issue that the dude's name is actually, what is it, Night Mask?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Night Mask starts babbling about the White Event. The White Event is coming. Mm-hmm. And you see these guys in space, and they're watching some sort of entity moving through space that's kind of like collapsing universes, and somehow it's coming towards Earth. And there's I don't want to mention who it is because it is kind of a spoiler, kind of gives away the end of the story here.
Right.
But there's a long-forgotten Marvel character who reappears at the end of this book.
Okay.
And he is a character from somewhere else in Marvel publishing history. Okay.
I think that's where some of my confusion lies, and I guess I can't ask those questions now. So I'll let it go.
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's what I can say. In the previous issue, this bald guy who's speaking alien language, they find out his name is Night Mask.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people go, Night Mask. That was the name of one of the Marvel New Universe characters that came out in the mid to late 80s. Had some comics. Marvel did this thing where
that was the second golden age of comics, by the way.
They did this thing where they had what they called the new.
It was, really.
They had the new universe, kind of like the Ultimate Universe, how it's like a separate Marvel universe. The new universe was darker and grittier and more realistic, and it lasted for about, I don't know, like 4 years really, and then it kind of died off. And they did some specials with it and kind of brought it back here and there, but for the most part, it just kind of died and went away. Well, Night Mask was one of the characters from that, and in the new universe, there was something called the White Event, which is where like this cosmic energy floods planet Earth, and like 2 out of every 1 million people suddenly get superpowers. And that's how this new Marvel universe, how superheroes suddenly appear. And throughout the course of the new universe, they eventually find out that this energy was from this like old man in space who didn't want the energy anymore. It was corrupting him and making him evil. He had too much power and he didn't know how to use it, so he tried to just get rid of it, and it somehow found its way to Earth and then started the whole thing here on Earth.
The Scarlet Witch wasn't involved in this.
No, there was no hex magic involved
House
in that
of
one.
M.
But Night Mask was one of the characters in there, and suddenly this guy has his name, although he looks different and his powers appear to be completely different. But it does look like that's some sort of an associated tie-in. And it kind of is. Like, we're not really sure. Again, I don't want to give too much away because of spoilers and whatnot, but they don't explain everything 100% in this, but it does look like that it is kind of tying into that idea. Now, whether it's the same thing that happened in the new universe, or if it's just they're reusing the names for trademark purposes, you know, you have to publish something every so many years, or you lose the trademark on it. You know, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but that is kind of, you know, playing up in here. And so, for me, as a big, you know, comic book geek, you know, reading that and like, oh, wait a minute, that's something obscure and stupid that happened years ago. Awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, how about a couple questions I think we can still raise? What do you think about, for example, Peter Parker, who's now Doc Ock, in Peter Parker's body? Did you think his personality was different in this?
Yeah, it seemed wrong in this.
It seemed like it wasn't. It was still same old Spidey.
Yeah,
They didn't do the Doc Ock twist. And I think from now on, whatever crossover, anywhere that they put him, they need to stay consistent with that. Don't you agree?
They were still putting in like little bits of him talking. Like he goes up to Tony Stark and he says, "You got to do something about the children." And he's talking about like Sunspot and I can't remember who the other guy's name was, but you know he'll throw these remarks that they're not worth his time or they're not worthy or you know whatever, which is what Doc Ock says. But then he's still being goofy. And he's like eating his lunch out of the refrigerator, and he's like, "Well, I spit in it. I didn't want it anyway." That you know.
Doc Ock
also you.
Yeah, it's like it was just kind of stupid, childish.
But I still really like Hickman's approach to the story.
Yeah.
You know, I was a big fan of Hickman with Fantastic Four. I think we were both a little jaded with you know Johnny Storm and the whole negative zone
whole thing
and all that. But you know, all is forgiven. We still like Hickman. And I really like what he's done with this title. I mean, don't you agree? I mean, it's been
the one thing
written. I mean, and the stories do leave a lot of open ends, like you said.
I'm gonna say the artwork on this it shifts also, starting with this arc. There's a different artist before, and it had a much more painted feel, and now it looks a little more traditional,
right?
Modern comic. So if some of you were kind of turned away by the artwork of the other one, because I know a lot of people don't like that painted look, because it doesn't look like comics, like they want to see comics.
Things don't pop.
But the one thing I do want to say with the story is that Hickman is still kind of doing his approach to storytelling, where you get a bunch of information and a lot of it doesn't seem to make sense, and then it all kind of comes together at the end of the story.
And you have to just kind of figure it out.
So there are little pieces in the story that don't seem to make a bunch of sense, and then they work themselves out at the end of the issue, but then there's still pieces that are unresolved that will tie up at the end of the arc.
Or come, you can see another arc.
Yeah, so you can kind of see that going in issues 1 through 6, and then it kind of starts again here. A bunch of questions when you're reading the book kind of pay off at the end of the book, but then there's still some things unexplained that we'll find out in the next issue. So overall, I liked it. One of the things is when I was reading this, I remember thinking to myself that 10 years ago, the Avengers were really kind of in a dull, terrible place. And, I remember thinking, like, man, Avengers, this is, like, the worst book ever. Especially, like, if you go back to, like, 98, Heroes Reborn and, like, all that kind of stuff, it was god-awful. And as I was sitting there today, because I was behind on all of these, I had to catch up, I read 1 through 7 today, and as I was reading them, I'm like, this is a far cry from where they were, a decade ago. This is some good stuff.
I valued it so much that, because you get the free digital copy, I just basically... download that copy and just put it right back in the maggot board. I mean, I think these are.
You still buy the paper copy, even though we get the review copy in the digital.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, let's switch to the other Avengers right now. We do have another Avengers book to talk about. This time we've got Secret Avengers #2.
Okay.
Now we haven't talked about #1 on this show.
Yeah, can we talk about #1 first, because there's some different stuff going on here.
Like what? Like what?
Well, it's not like the Secret Avengers of before.
Now, see, I didn't read Secret Avengers previously.
Well, it's completely different. It's like they basically rewrote the book on the whole title. S.H.I.E.L.D. is directly involved with this. And it's basically starting off with Hawkeye and Black Widow. There's Nick Fury, but it's the black Nick Fury.
Yeah, it's Nick Fury's son from the Battle Scars miniseries.
Right. Okay.
But he's not director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No.
He's just an agent.
No, actually, there's like this mysterious Daisy Johnson, who's like the head director that nobody sees. She's kind of like from Charlie's Angels. What was his name?
Charlie?
Charlie.
Am I wrong on that?
No, I'm sorry, I heard Daisy. I just pictured Daisy Duke.
What?
Daisy Duke from
Dukes of Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard.
Sure.
I'm just saying, it would be awesome.
So... Question #1.
Okay.
First issue. Right off the back, Reverie. What is up with the Reverie?
That's a code word. They've been implanted with the nanites.
And they've got the implant chip, like... Okay.
So that's the code word that sets off whatever kind of memory wiping suggestion.
Well, the reason I want to talk about 1 is it directly ties into 2, obviously. Starting off with Hawkeye all shot up, surrounded by these... foreign soldiers speaking some strange.
So wait, how does 1 tie into 2? I mean, other than it kind of sets up the whole.
Right, the dude, the crazy Russian guy with the magic powers.
But that doesn't have anything. But that's not the storyline in 2.
Yeah, it is.
No, because the storyline in 2 is Taskmaster. In the.
That's at the very end of it. See what I got to deal with.
Well, what did you think of 1? Let's just start there. What did you think? What do you think of the idea of this covert unit, kind of like
you would normally expect,
kind of like the activity of the Marvel universe?
Well, you would normally expect whenever you've got like the first issue of something that's basically being relaunched, they're going to it's going to be about assembling a team. It's issue 1. They're going to try to get a cast of characters together. And it just starts off with a meeting table with Hawkeye and Black Widow, and some like agent guy going, "Okay, I got a proposal for you."
All right, well,
and then this is the part I thought was kind of weak. Like he gets them to agree, he shakes their hand, and when he shakes their hand, it releases some kind of like nanotechnology into them, which automatically goes to their brain, uploads to their brain, and now they can manipulate them. And they can like give them a safe word and shut them down if they're not following.
Ghost in the shell.
Yeah, it's just like...
Oh, man.
So that kind of lost me there. I mean, I gotta admit it. I'm just like,
well, okay, I think there's a couple things.
That was a hard pill to swallow. It's like, okay...
I think there's a couple things that you're missing. This, right? There's a couple things you're missing, I think. One...
Okay. I'm known for missing stuff.
This book does officially bring Agent Coulson from the Avengers movie universe into the Marvel universe. He is the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that they deal with. So he's now officially part of the Marvel Universe. Even though they kind of had him in Battle Scars, but it didn't really look like him. It was the same name, but it was like a different white dude. Now it's officially him. And two, this sets up the fact that the Avengers heroes that are being pulled in are not necessarily... it's not about them. It's about S.H.I.E.L.D. It's about Nick Fury, it's about Agent Coulson, and it's about the secret ops missions that they go on. The mission is the story. The Avengers chosen for it are kind of like the window dressing that makes the story happen. You've got to take some superheroes, put them in an uncomfortable situation, so that these subversive things can happen.
Do you think the Secret Avengers would be nothing more than just like a gene pool of superheroes?
I think it's just going to be kind of whatever Avengers they need to pull off the specific task. Those are the guys that are going to be roped into it.
Which makes a little bit more sense, because I felt in the first issue they didn't really build a lot of story as to why they picked these two.
Yeah, because they are picked for that mission. They're not picked for the team.
You know. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now in the second issue, we get a lot more of AIM agents, which we just had all over the Avengers 1 through 6.
Right.
And now they're all over here. So AIM still has a lot of authority and money, apparently. And they're setting up some sort of secret nation. Like, they're going to build like this island nation and put key people in different spots. And so as they're, unfolding this and rolling with it, Nick Fury actually goes to Begalia, which is a criminal nation.
Right.
It's a nation set up by all the criminal superheroes that have their own sanctioned UN nation where they can, do whatever they want. If they go there, they have diplomatic immunity, whatever. But they've captured Taskmaster.
Yeah, I thought that was
and
cool.
Nick Fury's going to go break him out. And here's the interesting twist, is that Taskmaster tried to kill this Nick Fury in the Battle Scars miniseries. That whole miniseries was Taskmaster hired to kill this Nick Fury because someone figured out that he was Nick Fury's son.
Okay.
And so now he's got to go break him out. So now you can see that the new Nick Fury Jr., whatever you want to call him, that he actually has to do stuff that he finds distasteful, work with people he doesn't like because this guy tried to kill him, killed his mom, tried to kill him, but he's got to go break him out and bring him in on this mission because they need him.
Right.
So I think that's a really fun dynamic that they threw into this book, and that's not the type of thing that you usually get out of these types of stories.
But they're still interweaving some characters, like Mockingbird's in here again.
Right, she was needed for the mission, but she's not important to the overall story.
So basically S.H.I.E.L.D. is utilizing, when they need them, kind of...
Yeah, it's who they need.
Per mission.
Right, so Avengers and Avengers villains...
Well, I have to say, I like the second one better than the first one.
Now, so, don't give away what happens at the end of the book.
I'm not.
Because that's part of the... Okay. Don't spoil it.
I won't do it.
I do love, though, that this AIM...
But here's my problem. Okay, but here's my problem when they do things like this with the series. Is, okay, it's going to be hit and miss then. There may be issues where I don't like their team up. It's almost like putting together a team up.
But how is that going to be different from an issue of Avengers where they go, it's a special episode with Mockingbird and She-Hulk that go shopping?
The story arcs aren't going to necessarily be as big,
Well, yeah, but every book does that, though. Okay. Every book has its ups and downs.
Well, then it's kind of like Avenging Spider-Man.
Kind of, yeah. Okay. Except it's got that subversive, underbelly, dark underbelly of the Marvel Universe.
S.H.I.E.L.D. once again.
And also, I think this is kind of setting some groundwork to get people... I think AIM, they're all over the Marvel Universe right now. I think they're going to somehow play out in the next Avengers movie or in one of those tie-ins. They got to appear in one of these upcoming films. There are a lot of AIM because AIM is showing up in all sorts of Marvel books. But I think that the way this book is structured, there's a new S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series coming out. And I think this book being centered on S.H.I.E.L.D. and being kind of that S.H.I.E.L.D., story, I kind of think that when the TV show hits, this book is suddenly going to change its title to S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like a cartoon series?
No, they're doing a live-action TV show.
Really?
Yeah, Joss Whedon's the executive producer of the TV series, and it's set in the same universe as the Avengers movie. You had no idea, huh?
No.
Huh.
Shows how much I know about pop culture.
You don't get on the internet enough, do you?
I wait for you to tell me.
I got a wife, I got kids. Oh, wait, so do I. But yet, I still find the time.
Hey.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Throw in some commercials for some other stuff here on the Pop Culture Network. But when we come back, we'll have figured out 2 other books that we'll talk about.
Sure.
Sure, why not? So, as it turns out, my co-host Apocalypse has not read one of the books we are talking about tonight, even though he's had a good 12 hours in which he could have found time to read it. He just slacked off. So instead, right now we're going to be talking about Shrugged Volume 2, and I have with me the Huckster here. And you read all of Shrugged number 1, right?
I read
Volume 1, right?
Volume 1, I guess. I didn't even know there was a 2 until tonight, which I'm now current with.
So I've read the Volume 2 number 1, but I never read Volume 1. So kind of quickly give us a rundown of what happens in Volume 1.
Well, Volume 1 is they just introduce all the characters, the Angel and Dev.
Well, I mean, give people an idea. What is Shrugged?
Oh, Shrugged is it's a character study about a guy whose conscious actually speak to him. So there's like an angel and a devil, but they're actually from 2 different worlds, Elysium and I forget the devil's world. But they're from these 2 worlds, and they use these machines to basically transport themselves into the conscience of a human, and there they basically act as a good conscience and bad conscience. And in the main character Theo in this actually sort of somehow he manages, either just because of his own unique character, he's able to see or hear these voices in his head. So at first the comic is all about the angel and the devil basically arguing over this kid. And then at I think on the 5th episode, right before they shut it down, or sped it up and shut it down, he tells them both to shut up, so he actually can hear them and knows that they're there, and that's the big switch. And so he ends up being integral to the worlds, but they basically rushed it because everybody was getting sick. Turner was going, and they rushed it into 2 episodes, and so
episodes, not issues.
Issues.
So okay.
Why?
You should read more comics so I don't have to be here.
What?
So okay, let me ask you,
Why replace me?
Why do these little angel people and demon people want to interact with humans? What's their pull? What's their draw?
I want to say it has something to do with energy. Maybe that's they're somehow. It's either their civic duty. That's what they want to do, but I think it has something to do with the. They're just trying to power their own respective worlds.
The first few pages kind of give a quick recap of the series, and one of the things here is they show this demon lady that they had to fight off,
and she's actually a fallen angel. She was an Elysium person,
and so they kind of get into that. But then, of course, the little troll demon guy, all he wants is chicks in bikinis.
That's the devil guy from.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
it's a pretty good lifestyle.
Actually, that's what I say.
Man.
So what we get to set up here, the 2 people talking on his shoulder, kind of talk about how they made it through the summer. Now it's time to get through his last year of high school so he can get to college, so he can have a good life, whatever. And of course the demon guy wants to get to college, party with the chicks, and all that kind of stuff, whatever. You get Theo's friends, so you kind of meet up with some of them.
Kind of, yeah. I was gonna say it's a similar, yeah.
Jamming on the one.
For me, not having read the first volume, I thought it did a good job of kind of setting up the characters. You kind of know
they're all the same characters from the first volume.
Yeah, you get a good idea of what's going on. You don't necessarily know why these things are sitting on his shoulder, but you get an idea of where they come from and what their people are like, and it does do a good job. If you haven't read the first volume, I think it does.
And all the major characters from the first volume coincidentally end up at the same college, like every comic.
Well, no, this is their last year of high school.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
So they're not at college yet.
They looked a lot older in the original series. The artwork is actually really similar, but in the original series, they all look very really young, like they're sophomores or freshmen, or they're really young. In this one, they look like they're about ready for college. Like they definitely have grown up.
Well, times have changed.
I was going to say it's a little more serious.
Girls look a little older these days,
I don't know, high school girls.
You know what
I
they
keep
say.
getting older, and they stay the same age. Nefario, that's the other world. That's where the demon
Nefario, yeah.
We just got hit on every FBI watch just from that last statement.
So we get some storyline of in Nefario and Alicia. This evil demon woman, the fallen angel woman, she has disappeared.
She's defeated in the first
but
volume.
She's defeated, but they can't find her now.
Right.
So she's somehow slinks off somewhere. So they're trying to find her. You don't really get an idea of where she's at or what exactly is going on, but you know that something's building up. They're obviously worried about her. Cameraman's getting drunk. And
keep her rolling.
Camera 1, camera 2.
So let me ask, since you read the first series, does reading this make you want to get back into the series? Does it make you want to read Volume 2?
Yeah, I'd probably follow. Because I did. I mean, the only thing that was bad about Volume 1 is because Michael Turner was so sick, and they were kind of rushing a lot of it, and they crammed a lot of issues into one, to basically 2 comics.
You have an episode.
And so it was literally like a whirlwind. Everything was really awesome for the first 6 issues. And then the next 2 issues were just like a whirlwind, and it was really hard to follow. There was too much going on. And this has actually been, it's like an art upgrade. They've definitely, I like the art of the original. It's very Turner-esque, especially the women.
Yes.
I mean,
did Turner draw the first?
Yeah, he did some of the covers. Just some of the covers, because he was already pretty sick.
He knows how to draw a beautiful woman.
Yeah, he does. And then
with wings.
His
with
little
wings and,
followers definitely picked up on his style.
I noticed there's a lot of comedy. There's even stuff in the background. Like, for instance, when he first sees this hot girl, 2 people happen to be carrying this Renaissance painting right behind her. So it's like there's this beautiful scene behind her of this.
These guys are the hits, or I forget what they are. They're like the third conscience. They're like a random entity. This is like the random squad. They show up occasionally in the original comic, and things go wild, crazy usually.
Yeah. So I have to say, again, all the characters are laid out. You understand the relationships between them. You get that recap of what's going on in their world. So I felt that I could just jump right in, and this is a series I could just start reading from here, and it doesn't feel like I've missed anything, really. This is a good start. What?
So somebody who's never read this title before, do you think this would be a good jumping point?
That's what I'm saying, because I haven't read this title before.
Okay.
There's only 9.
I thought you were saying somebody who's read this before would be able to,
There's only 9 other comics, though.
Okay, gotcha.
And literally 2 of them were every page was something new. They were really trying to finish the story.
Wow.
I don't know. It was crazy.
All right. Well, since you're already sitting here, and we've already kicked him to the side, have you read? You read Las Vegas, right?
I did read Las Vegas.
All right. Then why don't you and I talk about Las Vegas?
That's fine. I'll just heckle from the back.
Leave nerdly McThingamabob over there by
Hey,
himself.
don't forget about me.
I was going to say,
we forgot about you 10 episodes ago when you stopped coming.
Oh, you know what? 10 episodes I was here.
But he was here for 21. Here. 21 was.
It was my daughter's 21st.
Every other one.
All right. So
I had to come back for
here's Las Vegas.
And will you hand me my tablet? That's right there.
Vegas.
And this is from Jim McCann, who's writer for Marvel. He also did Return of the Dapper Men for Archaea, Mind the Gap at Image.
Kick me out.
This is also at Image.
Sit back and I'll just look at
tell the people at home, what is Lost Vegas?
Well, at first you start reading it and you're not really sure if it's like a take on Las Vegas, because they're basically gambling, but it turns out...
But there's aliens.
Can I give this away? Yeah, it looks like Las Vegas with aliens, and I was like, I thought it was on Earth at first, and it turns out that the Lost Vegas is actually a massive ship. Where it's kind of like a prison or like indentured servitude thing.
Yes.
It's like a
It's
casino.
like a pleasure cruise.
It's like a pleasure. I was going to say that. It's like a
indentured
cruise
service
ship casino, and people who are in debt get stuck there.
Yeah,
And we
they
had
have to,
also
earn their way out.
We read many podcasts ago about I think it was Warren Ellis, and how he had that one place on planet Earth where it was like a lost, whatever that is in Star Wars, the Mos Eisley, where everybody comes together,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's like an interplanetary. Everybody
Melting
comes
pot.
here. Yeah, that's what I felt. But then it was like a casino, but yet, once again, you go into
It felt
certitude if
the
like the
dice were
debt got
stacked against
huge.
you.
So
Right,
then,
and,
what year
there's,
is it taking?
there's hookers walking around. And,
But somebody mentioned
Logan's
something-
Run came to mind, and so did there was something else. Like I don't know, just like the art, like the style of the sci-fi.
It does have
Art
a
was
very
very well.
It
I
does
liked
have
it.
a very
I liked it a lot.
non-specific.
It reminded me of like 60s,
Yeah,
50s, 60s.
Kind of
I
like
don't know
60s.
if
The
you
people
didn't get
definitely
that.
felt like 60s.
But it's one of those things where it's like it's sci-fi. You can definitely tell it's outer space, futuristic, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's not like.
But it's still low tech.
It's not crazy. Yeah,
You know?
it's like low tech
they
sci-fi.
definitely have
a
some,
couple
like,
pages.
Well, no.
hologram.
What I mean is like he's got a collar on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
It's
a
not like
hologram
a-
collar, but it's not like wires and tubes.
Right,
and everything.
right,
It's just like
right.
a piece of metal with two buttons.
Right.
It's like some guy in the NBC prop department.
Like,
who
oh,
just took
all I
like
need
a-
is like a pair of pajamas and like a goldfish bowl, and I'm set.
Yeah, actually, they were wearing.
There's those women.
like, the
Yeah, those
had
women
they
had
were, like,
that. That was
awesome,
like
and they were wearing goldfish bowls.
no, but
So it's mixing genres and pop culture, which I thought was really cool.
one of the first pages when he goes into work and you see the levels, just how it looked almost very
Metropolis.
like it was almost like a sanctuary, like a church, because it had stained glass. But yet, this is where you go and gamble. Everything was
Well,
fun and
And there's also different levels to the casino.
yes,
So on one level,
Like levels
everything
of
is
the
very
ship.
pretty,
Yeah.
and it's like the
Yeah.
ice sculptures and the beautiful flowers, and then there's like these
face.
other levels where you've got like the hooker woman with the fishbowl helmets, where it's like things are dirty in the background. You can see
yeah.
trash on the floor.
But their faces are very clean.
Yeah, but I mean the artwork's good. I enjoy the artwork on
Yes.
it. I thought it was done very well.
and that was a very interesting.
It's got some
point there.
style to it, and part of the style to me, a lot of the artwork on the way people are drawn, it kind of invokes this evokes. There's like kind of like this Roaring
Evoke would be
'20s,
like this.
kind of like Roaring '20s style to it,
Neo
with the way the
future.
faces are done, the way like the noses kind of like protrude a little bit, the way the body types are kind of exaggerated.
I just thought they
a
were
lot of
British.
times. Either you were malformed as a baby or you were British. We're not sure.
Yeah,
Weird noses. I was like, they must be in Las Vegas and in.
they're our allies.
But yeah, there's like class structure going on. There's these indentured servants who are trying to work off their debt, but it's never going to happen. It's like they make about 5% pay,
And then they have to
and
pay
8%
all this like
interest.
exorbitant costs just to keep themselves like fed and stuff.
You'd
Right.
already mentioned
There's
one thing that I
fines.
thought was neat when you first got to the floating hotel. Is it stationary or is it like floating in space? I couldn't tell. But
Yeah.
yet you could see those different levels, so those could be different stories and different arcs. But then at the same time, when we also saw, can we talk about ink? I mean,
Yeah, there's a character named Ink who is working with this guy. We're not exactly sure. He's kind of like a shmoo, but he's black.
But
and
he's off the
telepathic.
radar. It's like nobody knows
Nobody
about
knows
him.
he's there.
Right.
but
He's-
no,
he's-
everyone else has got him? Or is this
Well,
guy
no,
stretching
there's
to
like-
all of them?
I think there's a secret group of people
No, it's just.
within.
I think it's just the
Ink
one.
could have his own art.
no,
just-
because he's using ink to talk to.
But isn't it telepathically just going to the other people?
No,
It's not
they
that
know
have
about
any.
ink.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
I know they know.
do they
about
have their
ink,
own
But they
inks?
don't have their own ink.
No,
There's
I
only
don't
one
think
ink.
so.
There's only
Oh,
one.
Oh,
ink.
there
That's
is
what I'm
only
saying.
one
There's
ink?
one, and he connects to everybody.
Okay.
And I don't. It looked like it was a physical thing almost.
Do
Maybe
a
that was just the way they
search.
graphic.
He
Real
hangs
quick.
out with them down at the bottom.
Who did the artwork on Return of the Dapperman? Because I wonder if this is the same person.
It does look a lot like that.
It
doesn't
does look a lot like
Okay.
Dapperman.
I never read that one.
That was
We were at a panel with
Yeah,
last year with that.
Dapperman was a graphic novel, and the way they did the artwork is this lady. She took these blocks of wood, and she would do like collage and then paint on top of it, and so But the collage, she would paint over the collage, so you didn't really see the collage showing through as much as it gave it a texture to what she was doing. So the artwork had this surreal feel to it.
Multi-dimensional thing.
But again, it was a style very similar to this in the way the people are drawn, and I wonder if it's the same person doing a more classic comic book style now. But I can't. All I can see is that the last name is Lee.
Lee
Janet
is
Lee.
an artist.
Janet Lee.
Yes.
Okay, so
And they're
And McCann's the writer. She's
they're married. They're married.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No, they were
Way
actually.
to go, Jim.
They were.
I know.
They were the most interesting part of that panel, I think. Actually.
Well, no, because Archaea was also talking about Dark Crystal and Labyrinth.
Yeah, that was
And
good, too.
That was
which,
really
by the
good.
way, I've got Dark Crystal Volume 2.
Ooh, I want to
Oh,
read
you
that.
suck.
Yeah, I know. But today we're just doing advanced review stuff. So, all right.
Oh no, we can talk about whatever we want.
No, we can just stand here and pass gas and hope the microphone on the camera doesn't pick it up.
You can come back.
So anyway,
tag in.
No.
all right. So I think we both agree Las Vegas we like.
I did like Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
I'm definitely going to stick with this. Keep reading. You
DJ House did too. Very
you like
good
it,
read.
Harris?
Very good read.
Apocalypse?
Huh?
You like Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You didn't read it.
I did read it.
Artwork
Just
was
call it
so
out.
easy on the eyes.
No objection. I object.
All right. So 4 thumbs up, or maybe 8 thumbs up. We both do too.
Yes.
Everybody likes Las Vegas, and you and I both like Shrugged. So there you go. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll be even more drunk than we are now.
Woohoo!
I think
tag
of the
team
night.
next
Yeah.
week we'll just go out to a field somewhere and circle the cars, turn on the headlights, just do it out
Stand in the middle and be like, "Hello."
Welcome to Thunderdome of Comics. All right, so all new X-Men.
Okay.
All right, so let's.
Starting off with Angel and Archangel intermixing.
So, okay, I have not been reading this regularly.
Okay.
You've been reading this
Yeah.
regularly, right? So you're all caught up on this?
I'm a Bendis fan. I've
Have
always
you-
read-
So, is that going to spoil? If you can explain a little bit about that pair up that I... Is this a brand new arc that we're reading right here?
So what's going on with all new X-Men is Beast.
Yep.
From
Fu-
the
future has decided that for what he's dying, okay? He's decided to go back in the past and pull the original X-Men team and bring them back to the present so that that way they can stop Cyclops from becoming
whatever it is in the future that makes Beast come back in the first place.
Cyclops?
Yeah, because what's happened with Cyclops is he's kind of like gone over the edge.
Oh, you've missed all that, haven't
Yeah,
you?
Yes.
what happened was the Phoenix Force came back, and it basically possessed some very key characters of the mutants.
Colossus,
Oh.
Namor, Cyclops,
Yeah, thank
Emma
you.
Frost,
Thank you.
et cetera, et cetera. And Cyclops is now like the world mutant terrorist leader.
Right, basically.
And Magneto is kind of switching the other way.
Let's put it this
because
way:
Professor
Cyclops
X,
is so bad that,
He murdered
that
Professor X.
Magneto is his henchman.
he murdered Professor X. So
You know?
Professor X is dead. Magneto looks like he's going to switch sides against Scott. And Scott is the mutant terrorist leader of the world.
Wow.
So something even worse than that happens in the future, causes Future Beast to grab the 60s X-Men and bring them to the present to try to fix something that happens in the time stream so that Future Beast's
Right.
world never happens.
You're so good at fillers.
Well, you're welcome.
Good job.
There was?
Did that
Help
catch
me.
you out?
It did.
Are you- are you
It caught me up.
privy?
But I will say
He's
that...
privy now.
And you know what? And I
He
have
is
to apologize to
He's
the
a pretty
audience
cameraman.
because I'm going to set the camera right to now just to those two like beautiful mugs because I got to get out my iPhone and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk some questions that I have about this and
Okay,
want
sure.
to tell you
Yeah,
why
picture me.
if somebody coming back in from like a fold of not reading comics to read something like this is fantastic.
Okay,
It
and-
is a very good book.
I'd love to hear your input as far as like what you thought or some like
one thing.
shockers. Like what were the biggest? What was the biggest shocker?
Wait. Pull out your phone. Pull out your phone. Before we get to that, though, I just want to say a quick note. The artwork in this is beautiful.
It is very. I'm gonna. Yeah, that's another discussion.
No, this is David Marquez.
Well, would it be a spoiler if we talked about like who the villains are? Or...
Oh no! Well, Hydra appears.
Yeah, Hydra.
They attack the Avengers mansion, but the Avengers are out of town.
Yeah, it's like and so you're gonna fight like this.
Like, are you cowards, or is this just bad timing?
That was lame.
But the artwork has a whole lot of like, especially when the big battles are going on. There's like this kind of like parallelism going on in the way it's drawn.
Which picture did you pick?
You don't have to zoom in too much. Don't worry.
I want to see if he picked the same picture, the Hail Hydra.
No, I picked the other. Well, I'm doing a 2-page spread.
Okay.
I got the 2-page spread.
I love the Hail Hydra stuff. It's great.
But I think the artwork in this is just beautiful. Like, just, flipping through it, I'm just sitting here going, this is really nice. And they don't overdo it. There are some digital effects where things get out of focus while other things stay in focus, but it only happens 1 or 2 times. And it's not distracting when they do it. It actually really helps the way the storyline's going in those few spots where they do it. So overall, really enjoyed reading the book on the whole.
Right.
I think...
On the whole?
On the whole.
For sure.
Preparation H
feels good
on the whole. I think from this point forward is where we have to kind of not mention anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Starting here.
Let's just put it this way.
This part forward, we can't really talk
There
about.
is a pivotal ending to this that we are not...
We can talk about that after.
I wouldn't feel right telling you about. I wouldn't feel right
genius.
telling the studio audience about the end of this because it really does spoil
one thing, though, that I think we should mention here is that the Avengers, up until now, had no idea that the old X-Men from the 60s are here with the modern X-Men. Right. And so...
It was funny when, like, Cap comes off his Quinjet. Like,
Cap, that's exactly what I thought.
Okay,
that was going to be the
Cap
next
marches
thing
off. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
First off, we were talking the other book with him in there, and I read that one after this one, so I see him coming off as like a very big authoritative figure. But then, how is it so? Because I was getting lost when the two like tweens or whatever they're doing are sitting there trying to like mock what they were witnessing being spoken about.
That was a little goofy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually kind of like that part. Iceman and Kitty Pryde see Captain America and Future Beast off in the distance. They can't hear the conversation going on, so they start making up their own words for what's going on, and saying like, "Well, let me make this perfectly clear. If you have any idea where Cyclops is, and I find out that you know where you've been hiding, don't you come at with me with that attitude, Mister."
It's like, look, Cap, don't break a hip. Don't break a hip, Cap. It's okay.
I don't understand with your indoor plumbing and your light bulbs.
But then when you go over to Scott Summers, what is he like? The underage diplomatic character?
Well, that's the young.
That's
the young
Cyclops
Cyclops
from the past,
and he knows that he's the one who creates whatever this problem is.
And he's torn because he's like, I'm a good person. What are you talking about? Now
and he doesn't. And that's the thing is he doesn't know. He knows what he's going to turn into a butthole. Like he has no idea why he becomes the one that's so evil.
Right.
But he knows that it has something to do with him. So he has this giant chip on his shoulder, where he knows he's got to stop whatever's going to happen because it's his fault. But he hasn't done it yet, and he doesn't know what it's going to be.
I want to talk about this, but we can't talk
about that. That's a spoiler. You cannot.
Can we even go to the cover?
Yeah, go to the cover.
So is the cover artist the same as the inlay one that Marquez?
No, I don't think so.
I was gonna say the Avengers, how it's more our time now, and then you see the classic X-Men.
Well, okay,
and the nostalgia is what I'm digging.
But that is what the story is because those are the classic X-Men from the '60s that the modern Avengers are meeting in this book.
How funny was it when? Okay, can we talk about the part where Cap's just like, so how are you going to handle this? He's talking to Beast.
He's like, how are you going to handle this? I don't know how I'm going to handle this.
Yeah, when they're mocking the conversation.
There is no loop. Well, you better try to tell me what's going on. I will try to tell you what's going on. That's all I can.
And Cap's just Cap's just like, okay. You know, it's just like,
He's like,
all right.
you better tell me everything you know. I don't know anything. Well, you better tell me some of what you know. I really don't know much of anything that's going on right now. Then you better tell me if you learned anything. If I figure it out, I'll let you know. It's like, all right, that's what I want to know.
That's a marriage.
I mean, that's really what that conversation comes down to.
But I know that aspect of that story is like a cross, the best crossover of what we cannot discuss, because you start to see the breakdown of a certain character, and that's where I asked everyone earlier. And wow,
yeah,
the two angels blew me away, but yeah, I apparently do not know 1 through 6.
That is also one thing. I haven't read Uncanny X-Force. I read the first arc of the last series.
Okay,
so Archangel.
Well, I can speak to Archangel. Okay. In Uncanny X-Force, basically Archangel is taken over by Apocalypse. At some point, something very tragic happens, and Archangel basically has to have his mind erased in order to save him.
So how does he go back to looking like a regular dude?
Well, and here's the thing. So his mind is erased, and he thinks he's an angel. He comes back thinking he's an angel.
So is that
an angel from
heaven?
Right. I got
go
you.
back to wherever is heaven.
Right.
Okay. But here's what I don't understand though.
So
what happened to his blue skin? Because he had the skull mask with the blue skin.
I don't know. It all went back to
and his wings were like razor blades.
Right. No,
that was awesome.
And now they're metal, but they look like a glider. They don't look like the Gillette
I'm just
special.
saying that's what occurred. That's what
blade.
happened.
So now he's got long blonde hair. He looks like a blonde-haired Lucifer from the Prophecy.
Okay. So basically, his mind is completely erased. He doesn't understand. He doesn't remember any of the evil that he had done.
He doesn't remember Apocalypse and being one of the horsemen and all that.
No.
All right.
The horseman. Hey, but by the way, that is
I said
horse.
very. I said horseman.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know. I know what you were thinking.
Horse, man.
Horse.
Radish.
Horse. Turnip juice.
Was that all you have for us, DJ?
No, I'm gonna probably add my tidbits, but you know what? I'm going back to Cameraman, because I will say one thing: that X-Man, that was a very, very, very fantastic read.
Doesn't it draw you back to X-Men
That was
again?
very good.
I will say, when you pop your can right by the microphone, you probably blew out the sound for about 5 seconds. Just so you know.
Oh, I'm sure. Eris, do you have some wet wipes here?
Yeah.
His mangina sounds like
know,
it's hurting a little bit. Oh, my speaker. Oh, 5 seconds.
You're out of the show. Go home.
I am.
You're gone until episode 31. How about that?
Wait a minute. So it is.
We're on 31.
But it's not
41.
31. It's actually
41.
30.
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
I tell you what. 50. You're gone for 50.
No. I think he needs some pampering now. He's getting a little upset.
Okay, I'll do the show without you.
Oh, see,
I can do the show without all you people.
Oh.
I'm senior editor. You guys are all out. It'll be me and the Huckster.
What are you talking about?
We're going to Denny's. We're going to set up a camera at Denny's.
This aggression will not stand.
We're going to call the new show Hangover Moons Over Miami.
This aggression will not stand, man. There's things that...
Hey, but you know what?
Apocalypse,
Hey, both of you guys, both of you haters, never finished up your final through of X-Men, because I was enthralled with that comic to come back to Marvel like that.
No, it's great. And, it's...
If this was a show on TV, I'd watch it.
Oh.
How about that?
Nice.
Huh?
It would be better than the other show.
And it's Bendis. I'm sorry, but I'm partial to Bendis. Bendis has done something.
There are a lot of people that don't like Bendis.
Really?
They're like, oh, Bendis ruined the Avengers. Now he's going to ruin the X-Men.
Oh, my goodness. I thought he revived the Avengers. In fact, that's what drew me away from X-Men for a while. I don't know. I just... he's kind of brought me back to X-Men. So I think it's Bendis that has kind of made me full circle for me with Marvel. But, I don't know.
All right. Well, I like it. All right, let's go to Alpha.
Oh.
Ultron?
No, Alpha.
No, much,
this is
much better.
The much maligned former sidekick of Spider-Man. This is Alpha Big Time #2. And one thing that we both didn't like about the first issue was the artwork.
Everything.
The artwork was the main thing that we really disliked about it. And
I'm trying to find it. My tablet's rejecting my search.
Didn't like the comic either.
The artwork is still the same in this one.
Yes,
and,
it is.
And
it's
I'm
very,
not...
Okay, let's stop. Right there.
Collaborate.
Artwork.
Yeah?
That is probably the hardest pill to swallow with this book. What is with the caterpillars on his face and the chin that's like Jay Leno's.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody in this world
it's like Jay Leno's nephew.
Let me look here. Get a shot of that.
Oh, all right, and the caterpillar brows.
So
Okay.
bad.
Dirt, we're gonna do your first. Don't turn.
Oh, I said this looks like some bad chick indie comic. Is what I said, which is a little dismissive to women, but you know,
you had to say chick. See, we just
Well,
lost.
remember
we just
Air?
lost
our one female viewer.
Yeah, we just lost her.
Remember, send all hate mail to dirt@popculturenetwork.com.
Not the apocalypse, because I love the women.
And there's no
It's
the
Dirt
in your
that's the hater. Dirt's the hater. So.
love the women. They're easy on me.
I will say, I did like the idea. In the first issue, there's this guy mugging a woman, and he takes his power and he kind of points it at the guy.
Yes.
And he's not sure of how powerful he really is.
He thinks he kills him.
And he just kind of shoots the energy at the guy, and you just see what looks like the guy's head exploding in this ball of energy. Well, as it turns out, the energy didn't really blow off the guy's head, but it did knock him into a coma.
But he knows he has to report to Spider-Man.
And he's afraid he killed the guy.
Yeah, because
So
Spider-Man is
authority.
basically...
Well, no, Spider-Man gave him his powers back.
Well, did we recap about Alpha? So basically what happened is...
we talked about it last episode.
Okay, well, just to recap, this character, a lot like Peter Parker, was a kid like on a field trip at Horizon Labs, and Peter Parker's working on this like special experiment, and he gets like hit with like the shockwave of whatever accident happens in the lab, and he has all these superpowers, but he can only use them one at a time.
So it's like he can have super strength, he can fly, he can shoot lightning bolts, but he can only do one power at a time. So if he's flying and he needs to shoot somebody, then he has to go into free fall and shoot and then start flying again. You know, so it's kind of an interesting take on the idea.
Can he walk and chew gum?
No, he cannot.
Couldn't do that either.
And he can't get a decent haircut either, according to this artwork.
Son of a gun.
He needs a chin job.
Damn,
And again, I think
that's just no.
he in the original in Amazing Spider-Man, he was an okay guy. He wasn't unlikable.
No, I didn't like him then.
I thought he was okay.
Alpha?
Yeah. I mean, he was a little full of himself.
The art
but
was
he was
better.
all right. The art was a lot better. But the secondary characters in this book, I do not care about, and they're all like the worst oddball.
Lame.
It's like
You can say lame. You can say lame.
This black guy who's like 6 feet tall, 400 pounds, has a retainer that sits outside his mouth, who's like his one friend, and his girlfriend is like this goth punk chick who's got stuff like all over metal studs and whatever all over her face. Nobody in this book can be normal.
No.
You know, it's like every character has to be some sort of like weird...
a parody of itself.
Yeah. So, again...
Here's the thing, though. I think Marvel has been on track lately with, like, putting out a lot of books that just really, like, grab my attention, where I'm just like, oh, you know what? And I've actually... And I've swinged. The pendulum swings for me. Like, I dropped a lot of DC titles lately. So now I'm starting to collect some Marvels. But Alpha, I'm sorry, I can't swallow it. I don't care enough about the character.
I was going to say, one of my main problems with this book is that it sets out in issue 1 where the Doc Ock version of Spider-Man says, I'm going to give you part of your powers back. And then as soon as he leaves, he goes, well, I almost hate using them like this, but oh well. And he's got some sinister plan. You don't know what it is. So in issue 2, how many details do you get about that sinister plan that he has? Zero.
None.
Doesn't follow up on that at all.
That was like the only thing that brought my attention, actually.
Yeah, and so I was looking forward to
see a
so
they're
more
staying
about that.
true to the new Doc Ock Peter Parker, because he's like Alpha's mentor. He was Alpha's mentor before Doc Ock took over Peter Parker.
Right.
So there was a draw there, and now that's gone. So.
Right. So I think we both still don't like Alpha very much.
No.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I think we'll do... you want to do Spider-Man stuff, or you want to do Ultron?
Ultron.
Yeah, Ultron.
Okay, we'll do Age of Ultron 1 and 2 with as few spoilers as possible.
What about 2? No, I only have 1.
Well, we have 2.
I hate you guys.
No, you know what? I need to catch up on Age of Ultron 2, so I'll read 2, you read 2 on the break. We'll come back, recap.
Wrap it
Yes.
up.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just reading Age of Ultron, #1.
Oh, okay.
What were you reading?
Same thing.
Age of Ultron, #1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a pretty good book. We have issue 1 and 2 to talk about tonight. Spoiler free.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
We had to talk about the rules.
we had to set some ground rules.
I can't talk about this person and that person.
Or the events surrounding them.
So which takes like the meat and potatoes and heart out of all of this.
But what we can talk about here is Age of Ultron is set in some sort of
either a parallel dimension or
some sort of future.
Yeah, or future. I guess I get more like a future feel.
Well,
like a possible future that like could happen, but
the one thing that makes me say future is that Tony Stark's armor, when you see him, looks like a Tron suit from Tron Legacy. It's like a black suit with blue energy lines on it. So it looks like a Tron suit. So that makes me think futuristic instead of, just random parallel universe. Because everyone else seems exactly the same.
But it does mention today in one of the first cells.
The first page says New York City today.
Right. So it's drawing you to...
But you don't know today is today or today is tomorrow.
Correct.
Tomorrow could be today. And in a way, aren't we all living tomorrow today? Anyway.
What's up, Blade Runner?
So, ain't no bumper sticker tells you how to live the day after the day you lived the previous day like it was the last day of the rest of your life. Alright, so anyway. In Age of Ultron, here, let me just show you this. This is what the world looks like.
Yeah.
And issue 1 is set in New York. Issue 2 is set in San Francisco. And it's basically the same broken world regardless. And in this world, somehow, Ultron has taken over the world. He is destroying humanity. There are little pockets of humans that still exist here and there in some sort of fragile alliance. You don't really understand exactly how it works, but it seems like a lot of the villains have somehow worked out some sort of system where they can coexist with Ultron somehow by feeding him. Who just did the fairy magic? Who's doing the fairy magic?
That was a work email. So.
Yeah, it was. Sure.
What's her name?
The funny thing is that I mandated that they do those work emails every night, so it's my fault that even existed.
All right. So anyway, I'm gonna turn down my volume on this here.
Oh, how respectful of you.
So, and the other thing that makes me think
do we show this picture?
I don't know, what is that picture?
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
PDFs. This.
Yeah, go ahead and show that. That's
that's
really... some more wreckage in New York City. One of the things that also makes me think of future is that you see Hawkeye in this, and Hawkeye, instead of using a bow and arrow, he's using a crossbow, and he's got scars all along the side of his face. So that's another thing that they often do when it's some sort of, Terminator-esque future, and that's really what's going on with Ultron. I mean, Ultron is the Terminator. This is Skynet.
Yeah,
this is Terminators. The human resistance, And Hawkeye is sent on a mission to extract one of the heroes.
Right.
Now, we're not going to give away who the hero is, how he got captured, why he's there.
One of the two.
No spoilers on that stuff. But basically, he's sent on a rescue mission to save a hero who's being held by these villains who have worked out this alliance with Ultron that allows him to continue to exist. What?
And I'm going to not try and ruin too much of the spoiler, but it did make me believe it still is in a realm where everyone knows the true identity in the superhero. Does that make sense? Because...
Well, okay, the hero who's rescued, when he's taken back, he says, by the way, my name is so-and-so, and because, secret identities don't matter anymore because this world sucks.
So, just everything like post-invasion just seemed to play with that, which I felt was like a very easy read, and it was very comfortable to me because
hold on,
certain character, everyone's just like, yeah, this is that person.
Yeah,
they didn't have any like, oh, I know this person's identity. I'm going to hold it against them.
It's like the whole world is rubble, so nobody cares.
Yeah, but today,
you don't have any friends or family you have to keep safe with the secret identity anymore,
right?
Because they're all dead. Because this is the world where Ultron Skynet is taken over. Right now, what do you want to talk about? Well, we'll talk about him in a minute.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there. So one of the key things I think about issue 1 here is that it does set up this idea that Ultron has somehow taken over the world, and the heroes that are left have to hide in like these underground bunkers. Basically, they have to hide their existence from Ultron, and if they're found, they are going to be destroyed, assimilated.
It is very much like Skynet. It's kind of
it is very Terminator. And as far as that goes, saying that this being Terminator of the Marvel Universe,
it's a compliment.
It's cool. Yeah. I mean, I like it.
And there's a lot of, like, downed shield plane ships. And, like, you can tell where, like, the last throws of battle, whatever society could throw at what these Ultrons could give them.
Okay, here. Look,
it's over. It's over. Like, the last battle has been fought.
That's Tony Stark in the Tron suit. I mean, tell me that looks like Tron Legacy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's a good deal right there. That automatically makes me want to give it a thumbs up.
Nice.
Do
some Tron.
So, let's go to issue 2. Again, try not to give too many spoilers away, so there are some things we're glossing over a little bit here. Issue 2, issue 1 was New York City. So you're getting Hawkeye, you're getting some of those New York-centered characters. In issue 2... it shifts to San Francisco. So you got Moon Knight. You've got who's the other one? Black Widow. She happens to be there, and it's the same as New York. It is rubble. It is downed buildings. It is wrecked cars. It is all of that same kind of stuff that you saw in New York City. Fires burning in the distance. Things are. Are you doing the same picture?
I don't know.
Just so you can.
I'm just throwing it out there, you know.
So once again, the world sucks, and it appears to be,
and it's fell like prey of Ultrons, like just like Terminators, they're everywhere, just like these like flying Ultron creatures like this here. Do you see that?
You mean like this here?
Yeah,
like that one.
Yeah,
like that. Is that the
Good
one?
call.
Double vision.
All right, so let's see here. Moon Knight. Now, did you read the latest Moon Knight series that went like 12 issues? Or whatever? Yeah, I didn't read it. I was
disgusted with the first portion of it and dropped it.
Yeah, Moon Knight was one of those things that like 5 years ago when they were like, "Hey, new Moon Knight series," I was like, "Awesome, Moon Knight." And then I read about 5 issues, and I was like, "I'm not reading this anymore."
I think it was like 4 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever it was. Okay, so again, we've got these characters. They're again, they find a SHIELD hideout, one of Nick Fury's little hidden bunkers in San Francisco. So that's where they're hiding out. And I don't want to spoil because one isn't even out, and now we're talking about 2.
There's not a lot much more we can talk about 2, but okay, let's talk about a little bit more. Let's break it down a little bit. Consistency with the art.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, the art looks good in both of them.
The storyline is it's on track. You know what there are some surprises. What I really like about this title is expect surprises. It's gonna deliver.
All right, here.
Let's put it this way: it's gonna deliver.
Let me say this. There are a lot of characters in the Marvel Universe who make appearances in this book. I don't want to say details about how or why, but you do see Hawkeye, Black Widow. You see guys like Spider-Man, Captain America, Wolverine. They're in the book. I'm not going to give away how they're part of the story or anything like that, but you do see Invisible Woman. You do see She-Hulk. Like everybody from the Marvel Universe is kind of getting represented here in one way or another as part of this storyline. And so the only character that really stands out to me as being different is Tony Stark. His suit, his body
it is drastically different.
And the only thing I can think of is maybe because his armor is so easily corrupted by Ultron because it is electronics.
Redesign it.
Yeah, he had to come up with something new.
Okay.
So I almost, in order for that to happen, in order for the book to be today, and Tony Stark's technology is so completely different, the only thing I can think of is there's got to be some sort of like time travel or parallel universe. Because either Ultron had to go into the past, change the past to take over the world, so Tony's progression of technology had to fork a different way. Oh, did that just turn off? Did I just stop recording?
No, we're good.
Oh, okay. I heard a ding.
No,
Usually it's a ding.
I
when it's
think
not
that was
recording.
another one of my. I should have turned my phone options off.
Not
I
mine.
apologize. No, it was my
So
phone.
you
It's
guys.
still recording? It says recording?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No.
What?
Yes.
What?
No.
Now you're
good.
freaking me out, man.
Record.
You're
Go.
freaking me out, man.
It's all you.
Now.
Go.
One, two.
But or it's a parallel universe where the technology just forked a different way as it was being developed.
Right.
But he's the only character that really seems different with anyone else. So that's what makes me think it's either
What
got to
about
be
this character?
time travel. That's Black Widow.
Is that?
Yeah. She's wearing like a hooded cloak just to blend in with the background or whatever. So yeah. So here's the thing with Age of Ultron. Okay, let me ask you about this real quick. You've got this entire world that's in ruins, and Ultron runs the world now, and we didn't see any of it happen. We don't know how this came about.
We don't know if it's an alternate universe
Right.
or whether it's a future or. If
So,
it's,
do you think is this going to be one of those things where in
is it going to have weight?
in issue 5 it's all undone and only one character remembers what happens and dun 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 Twilight Zone, or is this going to have long-lasting ramifications in the Marvel
My
universe?
heart tells me they don't have enough invested in this that it's not going to last.
But isn't Bendis one of the writers of this?
I don't know. Is Bendis one of the writers of this?
Then it would explain why it would come out in like 4 or 5 when it would come full circle or.
right.
Bendis, yeah.
Bendis, Hitch, Neary, and
Paul
Mouse.
Neary and
That's exactly what I went into. Is that it captivates you enough to get you on the monthly.
It's pretty obvious that Bendis' work always has weight in Marvel Universe.
but is it wait for one character or is it wait for the entire universe?
No, it always seems to have weight for the universe. I
Well,
think.
but is it one of those things where now he's doing the X-Men books? Is one of the X-Men going to be the key of ending Ultron instead of an Avenger? Because he's doing this whole
More
Avengers.
than likely. More than
So is it
likely.
going to be an X-Men who does it, resets the timeline, and that one X-Men is going to remember, and it's going to have ripples in the X-Men universe? You know what I mean?
Both at the same time.
At the same time. So it's going to matter
And
to
then-
everybody,
and
but
then-
only to one guy.
And then Hickman's gonna come back to Fantastic Four, and then Reed Richards is gonna fix it all. So, I don't know.
Interesting idea. I do not agree, but that's quite a theory.
Uh,
All right,
okay.
But
anything else,
overall-
man? I mean, overall, I enjoy it, and I will definitely keep reading it, and I do think it's been fun.
there's an element of confusion there, but that's also a good thing. I think it's like it keeps that mystery alive. I think with Age of Ultron and it also for some reason there's elements that seem to tie into a repeated story going on with some of the major titles right now. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll take a break. This time when we come back, we'll do Avenging Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man. How about
Oh, what about that that crazy title, the Witches?
that? Well, we'll get to that later.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay.
Wow, this is gonna be a
Yeah.
prolonged segment. Get your pot of coffee going, and whatever other medicinals.
I'm just
you
going to go
need.
sit on the cot for a while. Take my nightly constitutional.
Okay, we'll be back.
This is going?
We're live.
We're on?
2 in, go!
We're in. Oh,
In
now!
5.
Oh, hey,
4.
welcome to the Comiholics. And tonight we're talking about the. Wait, what's that? What are you doing? It's already on. It's already going.
Oh,
You're like making things weird.
5,
No, it's already on.
Just play
it's
with it.
Going.
It's okay.
It's contact.
Go. All right.
Contact. It's the reason. It's
Oh my
the
God.
moment.
Oh my God, I'm like
When everything happens, contact. Hit the bongos.
3, 2, 1.
Don't you remember that show?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, Avengers.
No,
Avenging Spider-Man.
Avenging Spider-Man.
Oh, hey, take that.
or look at the floor.
Oh, that was
look at the floor.
The El Chupacabra came through here. All right, enough of that.
I hope he stepped on him.
So the Jersey Devil just ran through here, in case you missed it.
Doug, stream blacked out. Eris, what you got up?
Oh, yeah, because you took too long, Mr. Film the Floor.
There's the El Chupacabra, I
Mr.
tell
Phil
you.
Floor. Okay.
All right, so this is Thor and Electro. This is what's going on in this episode.
Yo, mama.
This is Avenging Spider-Man.
Hey,
I know.
welcome back, Huckster.
Yeah, what do you know? This is Avenging Spider-Man 18.
Okay.
And
You are correct, sir.
basically what's going on
Writer
is...
is Yost, and the artist is Marco
Geppetto. He made Pinocchio. All right. Now, the last time...
He's not sending you guys Christmas
he is
cards.
so pissed off at us.
Yeah, that was terrible.
But you know what? We're going to run into him, and he's going to say I insulted his wife or something, and it's going to like...
No, that was a different guy. That's
like,
No, I heard you talk about his dog, though. That was bad.
Well, you know...
His dog, though, man.
We have Comiholics Awards. We need to take some down to St. Louis and present them. All right. So anyway, the last time that Thor and Electro were together, Electro, of course, shoots electricity. Thor is the god of thunder, and so Thor just basically took his hammer and
launched him into space
and
home
controlled
run!
him, and just basically dispersed Electro. So it's taken, I guess, months for Electro to basically absorb himself, recombine himself, and come back as human form. And so now he's finally back, and he wants revenge. Spider-Man knows that Electro is coming back for Thor, and he knows this because he runs into a bunch of AIM agents. AIM agents, which we've talked about twice already tonight, showing up for the third time.
Right.
The AIM agents basically take Electro, turn him into an antimatter version of himself, so now Thor cannot control him, and he's going to go try to kill Thor. And so Spider-Man is trying to convince Thor to, watch out, here comes Electro, and of course Thor doesn't want to listen, because he's like, I am the god of thunder. Why do I care for this small little man?
So Spider-Man, who is Doc Ock, is like, you know what? He's like so personally offended by the fact that Thor is so pompous about the fact that Electro could defeat him, that he's like, you know what, fine, I'll just sit back and let Electro do his thing, you know. The other part that I thought was interesting is there definitely was more emphasis of Doc Ock coming out, and not so much Peter Parker. Peter Parker's ghost is basically...
He shows up like twice, maybe?
non-existent
3 times?
in this.
It was one of those things where early on, Peter Parker's ghost had control over Doc Ock. Like, he's punching a guy in the face, and he grabs his hand, stops him from going, and Doc Ock realizes he can't punch him anymore. As the series has gone on, Peter Parker's control over Doc is becoming less and less and less and less. And like I said, in this issue, he only shows up a couple times.
And I gotta say, personally, this has been very hard for me because I still want Peter Parker to come back. Like,
see, I don't. I love Doc Ock in this as Peter Parker. And so there's even a spot where Peter Parker is sitting there brooding about it.
Well, Doc Ock and Peter Parker.
Doc Ock is brooding about it, trying to figure out exactly what is going on, and you don't see Parker show up at all.
No.
You don't see his ghost come in and say anything. The ghost doesn't try to figure it out. He's just non-existent. And I like the idea that it's starting to lose his grips. You know, Parker is starting to lose that control over.
So let me ask you: would you be completely comfortable with Doc Ock living in Peter Parker's body
from now on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I guess, like, part of me gets what you're saying, but the other part of me is like, you know, I just ultimately wanted to see Peter Parker finally get his break. Where, like, He just you know.
What?
But that's the
there
thing.
would be no Spider-Man
Yeah,
if he
but see,
got his
But
break.
that'd be the end
Oh,
of
man.
it. You know, that's what I would like to have seen. I would like to have
That's
seen-
part of the fun as Doc Ock as Spider-Man, because Doc Ock is like, you work at a lab where you can work on whatever science project you want to. You make a whole lot of money.
definitely a good
You had a
setup.
supermodel girlfriend.
It was a good setup.
You had a family that loved you, and all you could do was complain and whine and had problems. And Doc Ock is like, me as Peter Parker, this is the greatest thing ever. This is the best life I could possibly have.
But don't you think it's so like, crass that like he's like hitting on Mary Jane and it's not his Mary Jane and.
But you got to remember that he has all of Parker's memories.
No,
And
but,
so he
but
knows
those
it?
have been, like you said though, they're like
And he can share
non-existent
it?
now.
What?
He can know it and share it with
Yeah,
like.
he knows
he
like everything
remembers
that Peter went through.
Everything, yeah. So when he
Oh
shifted
man, that could
his
be
mind,
kind of bad too.
when he shifted his mind into Peter, Peter realized that he still had a little bit of control right before he died.
Right.
So what he did is he took Otto back to the moment when Uncle
It's
Ben
like
died.
Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg.
Lame.
Okay, wait. Of all
Yes,
the people,
you're-
you don't mention
Apocalypse,
Swayze.
you're done.
You don't mention Patrick Swayze. You don't mention Demi Moore. You go straight for Whoopi Goldberg.
And that was bad. I
That's
know,
like
right?
saying, hey, remember that show
The
Star
two
Trek: The
sexy
Next
people?
Generation?
No, Whoopi.
Yeah, Star Trek: The Next Generation. That Whoopi Goldberg show.
We know who searches the arrow.
Come on, Hollywood Squares. You remember that Whoopi Goldberg show? Color Purple. That Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Um.
Not Oprah movie.
So right before.
What?
Right.
Where'd that come from?
Color Purple. You said Whoopi Goldberg movie. I said Oprah movie.
It was Fat Hot Oprah.
Yeah.
You know, skinny Oprah, not pretty, but fat Oprah, that's the way to go.
And angry.
You know what I'm saying?
Angry.
Angry fat Oprah. Dude, there's that part where Oprah in The Color Purple, she just hikes up her skirt, she starts peeing right there in the middle of the road. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
Moving on.
You look at me crazy.
That was a little technical difficulty right there.
This is what like the Indian like head.
Oh, there's like scene
with,
missing.
Yeah. That's the technical difficulty.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, so overall, though, I thought this was a lot of fun.
It's intense. There's a lot of intensity going on with
I mean, it starts out like
Spider-Man.
really goofy, and there's a lot of fun stuff. Because I mean, Thor. Anytime there's really Thor in there, he is kind of played for the comedy. He's in the bar. He takes the drink.
But
he
of
throws
course,
his glass
Thor
on the
always
ground.
comes around and shows his respect because he's still
He's a warrior.
Yeah.
He's a king.
Yeah.
Well, he's a prince, I guess.
a godly prince.
Yeah. And so there is like two levels of story going where you do have some deep stuff going, some good character stuff
You
going.
almost feel you have
but-
empathy for Electro, I think, in this too. I felt empathy for Electro because, like, if you've read any of the like recent ASM and the battles he's had with Electro and like all these things that have happened,
Well,
it's like you almost like want Electro to
But
win a little bit.
the reason why Electro was
like,
so villainous towards the end was he was trying to save his daughter, right?
right.
That's all he wanted to do was get money to save her, but he couldn't get a legitimate job. A guy who shoots electricity has a hard time, installing television sets, or whatever.
You were good for the power plant.
So, well, I guess he could work for, Con Ed or something. But,
Zap.
oh yeah, film the
So
crotch. Go ahead.
Dirt is completely comfortable with Doc
Yeah.
Ock taking
Good.
over
Yeah.
Peter, and I'm a little. I'm not going to say indifferent. I'm actually a little uncomfortable with it.
So anyway, I loved Avenging Spider-Man, and I will keep reading the series. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna stick with it.
I wonder what Stan Lee would have to say about this whole thing.
You should do a crossover with Stripperella. That's what Stan Lee would say.
I don't know. Maybe I'll see if I can ask that question at the St. Louis Wizard World convention.
All right, now the other book ties in with this. That is Superior Spider-Man. If the cameraman can, stop munching on Doritos back there.
They're awesome and delicious.
Yeah, 100 decibels of crunch back there. All right, so Superior Spider-Man. This continues the story from last month with what's his? Is it Arsenal? Is that the dude's name?
No, it's
Assassin.
no,
It's
no.
he's the killer, right? But he's a killer. Killer Dog. Puff Daddy. What's his name?
No, hold on.
Massacre.
Massacre.
Massacre. That's the guy's name. Massacre.
Okay, well, 5 kind of kicks off with the major producer of. No, I'm sorry, misspoke. The basically somehow like the corporate bigwig of this fast food chain that Massacre went in.
Which it's totally not Burger King.
Yeah, no.
It is not Burger. It's King
like
Burger.
King Burger World. King Arc.
Burger Town. Burger Town. That's what it is. It's not Burger King, it's Burger Town. And Burger Town also...
It's McDowell's. We'll call it McDowell's.
Burger Town also
Welcome to McDowell's.
Hizzy Fizzy Soda. So Hizzy Soda and Burger Town. It's totally not PepsiCo and Burger King. Totally not. It's Burger Town and Hizzy Cola. But Massacre killed a whole bunch of people in a Burger Town restaurant.
And Burger Town, like, she's on the phone with, like,
reporters and stockholders and
you know, the big beef is, you know, Massacre like killed all these people in Burger Town, so you know.
So now Burger Town is in the news. It's bad PR because everyone just thinks of murders.
And then it just so happens that Massacre is like behind her shoulder while she's on the phone.
So anyway, the key is here. Massacre makes a deal with the lady and says, "I tell you what, I'm gonna wear a T-shirt that has your competitor on it.
Mocha-Cola.
You pay me a whole bunch of money. I'm going to go to Grand Central Station, blow up a whole bunch of people, and all they'll do is talk about all the dead people with your competitor." So he's trying to make money by basically killing people while wearing their competitor's brand on his clothing.
Oh, there's an image with Peter, still with Doc Ock.
Yeah, like I said, there's a couple shots where that still appears. The one thing that I thought was really fun, and this is like a little subplot of the book.
Okay.
Wait.
It's a better one.
But the subplot that I think is so great is that Doc Ock, as Peter Parker, goes for like tutoring because someone keeps calling him, and he ends up falling in love
with a small person,
with a little person,
a little person.
So this little person lady basically is a genius physicist and expert cook of authentic Italian food. And so Doc Ock is now in love with this little person. And I think that's great. I love this. I love the idea of just him falling for like the weirdest cornball character that you could possibly think of. He's like, "I was looking for a grown-up. You're a little girl." She's like, "No, I'm a little person." So I think that's fun. I love that whole idea.
I guess how far? What's the barriers as far as spoilers again? Let's just say Massacre tries to do his thing.
Massacre tries to kill. Well, I guess from here. Wait, this part we can't really.
Right.
So Doc Ock eventually finds a way to subdue Massacre, but then he finds himself
in a conundrum,
in a very difficult spot because he says,
a moral conundrum.
You know, Peter Parker, last time he fought Massacre, sent Massacre off to jail, only for Massacre to escape and kill more people. So now Doc Ock thinks, if I'm better than Peter, then do I kill this guy so that he can't kill anyone else? So it's kind of a moral dilemma because as a supervillain, he wouldn't have thought twice.
Nope.
He would just think, if you're in the way of my plans, then boom, you're dead. Who cares? Now he feels that responsibility to be a hero, so now he's not sure. So he turns to the crowd.
Right.
And he basically says, "What should I do? You people tell me."
So I'll throw this ad at you. If you were on a New York City street,
Grand Central Station,
and this scenario was put up forth, what do you think they would say? Cut.
So we don't want to spoil the ending here, but there is something else going on here.
You can guess.
And there's even an afterword after that with some more stuff going on with the Burger Town people that I don't want to spoil either.
No.
So Doc Ock, he wants to be the hero, but he doesn't know what that means. And so you see that struggle within him. What does it really mean to be the hero? And I like this more than when you do a book like Harbinger, and you have the anti-hero. It's a kid with powers, and I don't know how to deal with it. It just becomes a bad Linkin Park video. This is like a guy who was evil trying to be good, and what does that really mean? If I kill this guy, I save innocent lives, but then am I a bad guy for killing this guy, for taking his life? Can he be redeemed?
Right.
So I love that dilemma. I love how it plays out, and I think that's really a key part of the story, and it will, continue on with the character. That's one of the things I really like about him.
I agree.
All right.
Wholeheartedly.
All right, so thumbs up for Avenging Spider-Man, thumbs up for Superior Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. All right.
We're going to take one more break and then finish up with a couple more, maybe Venom 32 or Wolverine #1.
Oh, well, we still haven't talked about the witches.
Wow.
The Westwood Witches.
Phone in right now. We haven't even put this on the internet
I tell you
yet.
what. I do want to talk about the Westwood Witches.
Okay, yeah, I do too.
And
then
that's from.
How about Wolverine #1?
That's from Westwood Witches is from Amigo Comics,
right?
Which is a new company trying to get off the ground. And so I definitely want to talk about that. So we'll talk about that, and I guess maybe Wolverine #1 is what we'll do. And that'll wrap up our show for this evening.
Okay.
So let's do that.
Okay.
So we'll be back with Westwood Witches and Wolverine #1. 2 W's.
What are we going to talk about?
I want ice cream.
No.
And waffles.
No.
Waffles and ice cream.
Our fans know all too well what they've just walked into.
It's like 2:30 in the morning on Tuesday. We started the show
In
on
September.
Sunday.
Hey, I want to give a big shout out to both Dirt and the Apocalypse. Guys, always a blast hanging out with you.
It's not over yet.
Oh, no, it's
We
not,
still
but
have
you know
some
what?
more to go.
We gotta
This
end
message
now?
is brought to you by the Dirt Apocalypse.
Are we going to talk about Westwood Witches
Wait, is
first?
it the I love you man time of the night? Is that what this is?
It is. Come
love
on.
you, man.
Brandy,
You're the
you're
best
the
man
fine
ever.
girl.
If I was getting married, you'd be my best man, man, because you're the best man, man.
And it happens in Vegas.
Don't talk about Vegas, baby, because what happens there stays there. All right. We are going to start with the Westwood Witches
Nice.
and then go to Wolverine.
Oh, even better, double.
That way you can cross your eyes and it's like 3D.
Almost 3D.
It's one of those like magic eye things. All right, so Westwood Witches, this is a new comic from Amigo. Amigo is a new...
Written by El Torres, which if you don't know where El Torres is, he did Nancy in Hell.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Which I thought was a lot of fun. It's Nancy in Hell is kind of like I guess you would almost consider like a spin-off spoofish version of this like woman who's like carries around a chainsaw and she fights evil. Lucifer, who is like basically has amnesia, is like her partner in crime to like fight all these angels.
So it's like
who are like raining down on Earth to end the world. Like the angels are raining down on Earth to end the world, and Nancy has this like chainsaw. She's risen from hell, and Lucifer, this like amnesiac.
So wait. So it's part Evil Dead,
right?
Part Prison Pit,
With like this hot woman with like big
Prison
part
Pit.
personality.
part the girls next door.
Yes.
Playboy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fun.
Hey,
Well-
guys, by the way, that's the third time I've heard Prison Pit mentioned tonight.
Yeah. We'll
Prison
send those to you.
Pit.
Don't worry. You got to get on the Prison Pit train.
Hint,
If you've not
hint.
heard- and actually,
160 decimals.
we have to by the way mention that Prison Pit came to us courtesy of Nerd City out of Chicago. Ben Spencer is the
Thank
one
you,
who
guys.
dropped the Prison Pit knowledge on us, and every episode we have to mention Prison Pit
Right.
at some point to you guys.
It's almost become like a cult.
I was gonna say
I think
it feels like a religion.
I
at
think
this
we're
point.
like the original cult fans of Prison Pit.
No, it's
If there are any others
wait.
that
Wait,
stand
it's like-
before us,
Excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you about Prison Pit for a
well,
moment?
yes,
It's
I'd
a
love to
religion.
talk about Prison Pit.
All right. Back to the Westwood Witches for a moment. Amigo Comics, they're set up in Spain.
Wow.
And they're actually...
across the pond?
Setting up out of Spain, coming out of there, and this is their first book that they're pushing out. And it's basically... There's a writer who wrote a novel that was basically Twilight. And he was a guy who had actually written good stuff in the past that nobody read. So he writes this one stupid teen romance thing, and it becomes a huge hit. So now he's kind of pissed off that he has to write a sequel to this book that he didn't want to write in the first place. And he decides to move back to Boston, where he's originally from, because he's got writer's block.
The LA girlfriend.
Yeah. It usually happens in Boston, too, by the way.
So he moves back to Boston to be closer to his roots, to try to get some
So he's going to write Good Will
mojo
Hunting
back.
4.
Yeah, and he's got to write the next part of this stupid thing that he wants to do. And I got to say, it's really this kind of contrived setup of he moves back to the old neighborhood, he runs into a couple people that he knew, meets the new neighbors. I mean, it does feel like the setup of every sitcom, or you know what I mean? It's like just that packaged idea, but it comes across really fun. You really like the guy. Like, you really feel for him, the way he talks about... Because when I started reading this book, the book opens with the story he's trying to write in this novel, but you don't know that yet. Mm-hmm. And so you're reading this, and it's like the worst thing you've ever read about witches. It's like you read the first couple pages, and you're like, this book sucks.
Right.
But then you turn the page, and he's a writer sitting there at the computer
Like
trying to write his story.
I
and
can't do this.
He's like, this was a stupid joke that a bunch of teen girls won't stop reading. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me.
His shoe shopping hippie girlfriend that doesn't give him any inspiration at all other than being beautiful. Like walking through the door and be like, see, I'm going to go shopping. And he's just like, oh,
I'm going to go buy more shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so overall, you guys sound thoroughly pleased with both of the read. I mean,
well, actually, I think the art is good. I like the art.
The art is a very unique style. It very much has that kind of pen and ink, a lot of black ink marks. Where are we at? Where are we at, camera guy?
Good.
Tell me where I'm going.
Good.
Follow me, camera
Doug,
guy.
just up a little bit.
This is a sham.
Ears hold still.
But the artwork is very original, and it's dirty. I guess is a good way to say it. It feels like a lot of scratch type look to it, but
it pays attention to the writing. It goes well with the story. It doesn't.
And the color is as much a component of the artwork as the lines, which is very important.
The grit, the kind of feel of it.
Right, and it's like there's a lot of times where there's a scene, and it's like the lighting of the scene sets
look,
the tone.
we picked the same one.
We're both on the same page.
Yeah, the part here where he throws the red roses down his brother's grave. I mean, it was like there's a lot of symbolism there.
Yeah, you know what that means.
So basically what happens is he finds out that his brother has died this tragic death from a car accident. He's suffering writer's block for a next book of his basically the next trend book. It's almost like Harry Potter or something. And he's decided that he needs to go back to his roots. So he goes back to his hometown of Boston to write his next book. He's under a lot of pressure from his publisher, even up to the wake of his brother's death. His publisher is saying,
he's hey, where's that manuscript, by the way? We gotta get
the
manuscript.
We got some deadlines.
I know your brother's dead, but do we have a book here?
So, I mean...
But,
so it's intertwined with, this, Witches of Eastwick.
Well, in the midst of all this, some weird stuff starts happening where you start to get this sense that there's some sort of haunting maybe going on. There's spirits involved. There's something weird.
Something's trying to reach out to Jack,
and you don't know what it is. You don't. At the end, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin the ending, but you get this feeling like there is something supernatural going on, and at one point in the book, his girlfriend is saying, in the past he wrote historical texts, he wrote historical novels, he did a bunch of research, he writes this one goofy story that sells a lot, and it's a thing about witches and the supernatural, and you kind of get this feeling that some of this supernatural stuff may not be all in his head. Excuse me. And some of this stuff that he put in the story may have some sort of basis in reality.
There's like a portion where like he's talking, where he's like trying to find a shortcut back to where he needs to go, and he like comes across like the stones that have been like placed in like this weird pattern that they used to go to when they were kids, when they ride with their BMX bikes.
Wait, I want to
take this.
I want to ask you about what you make of this one scene.
Oh, the woman that like picks up the garbage off the floor and eats it.
It's not garbage. That's dog poop.
Oh, it's dog poop.
She's walking her dog, and the dog poops, and she bends down, picks up the poop, and eats the poop. But hey, people, this book has poop eating. That is the sign of a book you need to buy.
There's some demonic things going on.
If there's anything that says "buy me," it's an old woman eating poop. I don't know how. I don't know what else I can say.
When it goes,
no, you can't do that. That's a spoiler. You can't talk about that.
Okay.
Go back. You
right,
don't get anywhere near that.
When it comes to the graphic art, when it comes to a poignant point in this book, I think it really stands out and it grabs you. And that's one thing I really like about the art. Like, when it makes a point, when it's like, okay, such and such is happening, it really takes you. And I really like this book. And
another thing
I plan on adding this to my pull list.
Yeah, I definitely plan on continuing reading this.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of, darn it.
Oh yeah.
Damn it, I can't pull it out.
Awakening?
Awakening, yes.
Awakening, yes. The zombie book from Archaea.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's what I thought. A lot of the artwork reminds me of that. A lot of the story. It's one of those books that has a lot of quiet moments to it, like Awakening did. I was playing with the light back there. What are you doing playing with the light?
Hey, keep talking.
What was the book you were thinking of?
The one, the artist, writer that's been doing it for a long time. He does
Chandra Free.
No.
Oh.
No.
Woo, that came out of there. Wow, man. You're pulling it in deep.
Right before C2E2 2013.
Intelligent people
you're
from
like,
now
pull
on.
the scab off. One more time.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. No. That's the beginning. This is only the beginning of that scab.
Rachel Rising is what I was thinking.
Rachel Rising. Okay, I can see that. Rachel Rising.
And I think it has to do with like the facial expressions and the detail that's involved there. What's the main artist?
Terry Moore.
Terry Moore. He's
the writer and artist.
And I think that's a compliment to this book. I mean, Terry Moore is fantastic when it comes to
anatomy, faces,
right,
expression, emotion.
I mean, like this woman here and the character before that. I mean, it's really well done.
Here's the thing. It feels real.
Yes. And Terry Moore does a fantastic job of that. Where you buy into what he's trying.
This is one of those books where the dialogue feels real, the characters feel real. Even when you're getting some of that supernatural stuff, like the ghost in the computer screen, like I was showing a minute ago. Like, at no point does that really break that sense that you have that there's something real going on. Yeah. So overall, I gotta say this is a great book, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the series goes. All right, so let's move on to the next book. Our second book for this segment. This is the last book of the night. Last book of the night we're going to talk about. That would be not the book I just had up. I got to close that again. I hit the same book again. Here we go.
What are we talking about?
We're going to right now. Wolverine #1.
5 minutes left.
5 minutes left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
5 minutes left.
On this one, we can do another one, can't we? Huh?
No. We should cover it real quick because this is one of those stories that.
Hey, you know what? We shouldn't really cover it because I never got a copy, so I hate you guys.
Hey, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So,
here's the breakdown of Wolverine #1.
Yes.
It opens with Wolverine laying half dead on the ground, and there's a man with some sort of alien ray gun that's killing him.
Right.
The guy's there with his son, and his son is freaking out going, I don't understand why my dad is trying to kill people with this gun. Where did this gun come from? And that's basically the bulk of the first issue of Wolverine. Something is taking over these people, some sort of like alien, I would guess, and they recognize that Wolverine as a mutant with his healing factor, his adamantium skeleton, his claws, makes him different from the rest of humanity, and they've marked him for termination.
Right.
And so they have the ability to take over humans and then make the humans try to kill Wolverine. And that's kind of the gem of
what
where the
I
story
liked about
starts.
this right off the bat was the classic art. It reminded me of, well, I don't know, not that classic, but it reminded me of like late 80s.
Actually, this is
Wolverine style.
Alan Davis is the artist on this,
Yes.
and Alan Davis did Excalibur for a very long time.
Okay.
Alan
He did a
Davis
lot of
actually did some
X-Men.
Wolverine back in like '89 in like the early.
I was gonna
90s.
say,
I know he
this
did
reminds-
X-Men books. When he did,
Didn't he?
He did X-Men books with Claremont.
This reminds me of like late 80s, early 90s Wolverine interpretation.
Everything's like it's drawn proportionally to the way something should be drawn.
Well, like this right here. This is a good example.
Camera guy, put that beer down.
This is a good example of
This
just,
dirt's
like,
full.
how Wolverine is drawn in this.
Are you
story
talking
arc.
the yellow field?
Yeah, and it just it has that classic feel to it, you know. And I mean, Wolverine is, you know, a late addition.
He's a character that's been done again and again and again,
And it
it's
fits
like-
well.
But
in the last
this
few
is like
years,
a compilation of not only like embracing the old, but giving kind of a new story twist
Hey,
to it.
I will say there's two different kinds of Wolverines. I feel pre-Draken, post-Draken.
Dokken.
Daken. Yeah. The only thing I heard was lame. Don't like it.
Okay.
Everything before.
Yeah, I was saying, in the last
Weapon
few
X,
years, Wolverine's been through quite a bit. Wolverine, the Best There Is, was one of the worst Wolverine series of all time.
I think it was like a parody joke to call it the best there is. It's been the worst there
All right,
is.
how much time we got left, cameraman?
We have ourselves exactly 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
With a good edit. End.
All right, here's what I'm going to say about Wolverine #1. It's the good start to the story, but I feel like there was a lot of stuff missing that they should have put into this book. It just feels like it starts in the middle of the story and continues from there. There's a lot of setup and a lot of... You don't really know where this fits in a lot of the other Wolverine stuff, because there's Wolverine in the X-Men, he's in Uncanny X-Men, he's in Uncanny Avengers, he's in Avengers, he's in New Avengers. You know, where else can you put Wolverine?
And this was supposed to be like, if you read at the end of the book, it's supposed to be like
His Time Alone.
His Time Alone.
And it just kind of... So, I thought it was okay. I think it needs a little bit more development. I'll read issue 2, probably issue 3, maybe the whole first arc, but from there, not really sure how I'm going to feel about continuing on.
Well, one thing that
We're
made
low
me,
on time. Hurry up.
One thing that made me want to continue on was like it addressed like Wolverine's ambiguity of life and death, and it kind of embraced that whole scenario of like, you know, doing the right thing versus like killing somebody and you know, not killing somebody, whether it's doing the right thing or not.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so.
All right. So to wrap things up, are you going to keep reading this series?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Okay.
Anything Wolverine until
It caught
just,
my
like,
attention.
completely kills it.
Except for Wolverine, the Best There Is.
Yes.
Because
That's
that
like
one was
the only
terrible.
exception.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching Comiholics. Don't
Yep.
forget, send me an email, dirt@popculturenetwork.com. If you can remember the title and the issue number of the first time we met Jason Todd for the second time, or the second time we met Jason Todd for the first time, either one of those works, really, email me. We'll send you a code for a book on Comixology. Anything you want to add before we go?
Just it's been a great ride so far. I mean, you know, this is
31.
episode 31. It's a miraculous event. I you know, this started as a pipe dream, and you know, we do this because we love the fans and we love what we talk about, and it's
Can I say,
it's inspiration.
am I like the most frequented guest?
Yeah,
or
you're up
Keith.
there. Yeah, you are Keith.
I don't know. It's close.
Turd Ferguson. You know,
Because you freaked out on us for a while.
I did. Oh, I did.
All right, guys. Wizard World St.
Yeah.
Louis. If you're
Yeah.
going to be there, let us know. We're going to
And
be there. We'll see you
C2E2.
there. We'll be at
Yeah.
C2E2 in April.
But
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, we love you, fans.
We're out
and,
of time. Comiholics.com, part of the Pop Culture Network. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye.
And all you ladies and gentlemen, keep remembering, read your comics.
And look at the floor. get addicted to and make everybody else play? See, and I'm still going. Still going.
I'm still going.
It's the electronic cigarette.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, Gray's trying to box me in. You. Oh, ooh, ooh. Whoa, right.
Wow!
That? Right
I did. We got that. That was good.
That was awesome.
You totally missed that one.